This is the Martinus Cosmology Podcast, and my name is McGovern. I am your host for today. And my guest today is Tryggvi Gudmundsson from Iceland. Today is the 13th of December, and we're sitting in the Martinus Institute in Copenhagen. It's cold and windy out. The snow has melted, but we're going to have more. And in a week, it will be the darkest day, the winter solstice, which is very much the theme of what we're going to talk about, the culmination of the darkness and then Christmas that comes just after. Tryggvi, maybe you would like to introduce yourself and tell me something about how you encountered Martinus.
Well, thank you, Mary, and thank you for the invitation to come to talk about Christmas and the deeper meaning of Christmas. Well, I met Martinus in Iceland. I was born in Iceland, and I was living there to 1981, and when I was 20 years, I met some Martinus people in Iceland, and I started to reading the work and felt immediately that there was something here that was very inspiring. I had some history reading when I was a teenager. I was reading Indian philosophy and Greek philosophy. And when I met these thoughts, I could see that they gathered everything that I had collected, bits and pieces all around. And it's actually a funny story. When I was 16, I was working on a boat, a fishing boat on the east coast of Iceland, and I went to a book market, and I went through thousands of books, and I only took one book with me home. And that was Martinus' Eternal World Picture, #1, in Icelandic. And to this day today, I don't know why I picked this book. I didn't read it so much, but I thought, I have to have this book. So it was a kind of omen that 3-4 years later, I really went deep with Martinus.
And then you started to come to the Martinus Center. I remember we met at the Martinus Center in the summer, in the beginning of the 80s.
Yeah, 1981 was the first summer when I came to Klint. And that was, I think, 2 months after Martinus died. So I came with some Icelandic friends. And, I had a ticket back to Iceland, but I cancelled that and stayed in Denmark. I wanted to study the work. And so I've been staying here since.
Yes, and we studied together at the so-called winter school, where we had the privilege of studying Martinus full-time. It was a 2-year course where we could read his collected works on a full-time basis, which was really wonderful.
Yeah, that was when it was 1987 for me. I was there up for 1 year. A really beautiful time and good teachers and... I missed that time.
Yeah, I was there a bit earlier. But you recently gave a lecture here at the Martinus Institute called The Cosmic Message of the Christmas Gospel. We're approaching the physical culmination of darkness, the shortest day in a week. It's very dark here in Scandinavia. Many people are afraid of darkness in terms of the world situation. We see a lot of troubling events. We see a lot of political problems. People are afraid of war. Does darkness and suffering have any meaning, according to Martinus?
Well, absolutely. But it's I would start to say that it's not so strange that people are afraid of the darkness, because the darkness is really, and the dictatorship and the principle of power is really dominating the world today. The bank system and the warmongers, they are absolutely controlling things that the way they are. But Martinus is very clear that these things, these events, they are part of a evolution. So we are actually going through what we have in the ancient textures, the Bible, for example, the doomsday, or in the Nordic countries we call the Ragnarök. So we are actually living in the times that have been prophesied about for thousands of years, where the darkness, the mental darkness of humankind is actually culminating. How do you say it's
reaching a peak. It's culminating.
Yeah, reaching a peak. And that's actually because Martinus explains that for many years, actually the past 100 years, the light has becoming much stronger. The cosmic impulse. He talks about a cosmic impulse from the center of the Milky Way that has been radiating over the planet and influencing the culture and science and religion and so on. And you can say that when you hit something with a massive amount of light, the shadows, they become very strong, or they seem longer and stronger. So this is actually what we are witnessing today. We see that the principle of the darkness, the snake in the Bible, if you want, it has, if you want, a renaissance. It's growing. But Martinus explains that it's actually the death of the snake, the death of the principle of the dark, because the planet is a living being, and it's in the planet's consciousness there are two main talent kernels for darkness, one for the darkness and one for the light. So the talent kernel for the darkness, for manifesting darkness on earth, the principle of darkness, and which has been inspiring people for thousands and thousands of years to help them in a dark and difficult world. That principle is actually in a dying process. So you can say it's shaking because it's dying. And we've seen since the 80s in politics and philosophy, postmodern relativistic philosophy and politics, that in the 1980s that everything was given free, the money markets and so we have seen the growth of egoism and materialism, which we have never seen in the world before. So the contrast between the light and the darkness, the mental light and the mental darkness, has never been as great as it is now on earth. It's really, the Godhead is really depicting the darkness, showing us the darkness and what it is. Well, you asked about the Christmas, and Martinus explains that the event of Christmas, we are getting to the shortest day of the year, 21st of December. And this is actually something that some of the ancient people know about, this analogy, because it's not only the birth of the sun as we have it in the old cultures, because it's the shortest day, and after the 21st of December, the days are getting longer. So it's not only this physical birth of the light, but it's an analogy that depicts a mental light is being born in the mankind. And some of the old gods and figures that have played a prominent role in religions, many of them are put on this day. The birthday of them are put on the 25th of December, and that has a reason, because then the principle of light is being born, and this analogy is really is emphasized really much with the Christmas gospel, because in the Christmas gospel we see that the whole history of your Jesus, his birth and his living and his death, is an analogy or a symbol from how the light is being born, and the light is the human consciousness, the compassion, a totally new consciousness which is being born in the human beings today. And if we go through the analogy, we have the Star of Bethlehem, which is a kind of a symbol for this new cosmic consciousness, principle of the cosmic consciousness. But we see also that the Christ child, the infant Christ, is born in a stable. And according to Martinus, the stable actually symbolizes the animal kingdom, because this new consciousness that is being born in every human being is being born out of the animal kingdom and is leaping towards a new kingdom that mankind is emerging through in some thousand years. And we have different symbols. We have the gifts. We have the three kings, that the three wise men from the east of the Magi, and they are symbolic for the three world religions. Of course, there are other religions and ideologies through thousands of years that have been helping and inspiring people. But according to Martinus, these three religions play a really big role in the salvation of mankind, if you want, inspiring mankind to grow. It's a kind of a moral crutch, a helping device. Because we have another principle in the story. Let me just say the gifts, the three gifts that the wise men brought, they are also gifts that the little family and the Christ, the new consciousness which is being born in the animal kingdom, it allows this little family or this consciousness to flee away from Herod, which is the king. And Herod is actually an analogy or a symbol of the killing principle, the power, the dictatorship, which is the principle in the animal kingdom. So you actually got two principles that are constantly fighting in mankind and this consciousness or every single mentality, and that is the darkness, the traditions, and the talents that you have had in the animal kingdom to survive, and this new consciousness which is being born out of the animal kingdom, a new consciousness which is humane and compassionate, and will end by evolving to the stage of cosmic consciousness, where you have the ability to be all loving and all caring, and seeing the whole world with God's eyes, becoming one with God. And with these gifts, the little family was able to run to or flee to Egypt. And Egypt is a kind of a symbol of a place where you can hide and until you where you have peace and how do you say, you are free from the persecution of the killing principle. And when you are grown up, so to say, and you don't need these old religions, you become mature, you become intellectual, and it's not enough what the priests say in the church, and you have questions yourself, and then you go out with this moral content or these talents that you have had from the religions, so to say. Martinus is of course what is basically to his cosmology is the incarnation, the reincarnation. So you are struggling and you are evolving for every life. So it's a very long project, of course.
So this Christ child is being born in each of us. We're all animal beings in the animal kingdom, and we have a Christ child within us, this talent for neighborly love that's growing, but it can't grow to a perfect level in one life, but grows over many lives.
Yeah, that's true. It's a new talent, because in the animal kingdom, our main talent has been to survive a very harsh world where you had to kill or be killed. So this is the principle of the animal kingdom, and the new kingdom, which is you can say humanity and compassion are the waves that we are seeing from this kingdom that's in the distance, where this new consciousness will grow. Humanity and intellectuality will grow in each and every person. But we are seeing today really the peak of this principle of killing, the principle of the animal. So many people say to me they are afraid of what is going to happen to the world today. We can see that many states leaders around the world are actually a kind of dictators, because the dictator principle is growing on the planet, and we can see statesmen, head of state, that are seemingly not so intellectual and almost stupid. But sorry, but Martinus is very clear that everything that is happening on the planet today is happening because there's a reason why things are happening. There's a reason why some people, intellectual people, are being put in these positions, like First and Second World War. People had a role to play. So all these people, they have a role to play in these events that are coming. And Martinus, he talks about that the necessity of the things that we are experiencing today, because Martinus explains that the suffering, the only way that we can become empathetic and compassionate towards our fellow beings, towards animals, towards the planet, the only way is to cry to the compassion, is the suffering, to go through suffering. Because when we suffer in different areas, we will attain ability of feeling compassionate to other people that are suffering in the same areas. And eventually, we will actually become so human, and we have so much experience of suffering that we will again cosmic consciousness. So that is something that you can't get cosmic consciousness just by sleeping on it. It's hard work.
One thing that's very much connected with Christmas is food, and there's a lot of killing connected with Christmas dinners and Christmas celebrations. Does Martinus have anything to say about that?
Yeah, well, like I mentioned, we have two main principles. We have the principle of the darkness, symbolized with Herod, and we have this new principle of light, of neighborly love. And these two principles are always fighting. And the Christmas gospel is actually the gospel of the light, of this of the compassionate human consciousness that is growing. So if you look at the traditions, different traditions around the world of Christmas, there's one tradition especially that is not so much in the spirit of the Christmas actually, and that is putting dead animals on the Christmas table, because the principle of Christmas is actually is love, and not love to your wife or to your children or your family, but neighborly love to everybody, compassion to every human being. And this is, of course, like I said, a talent that is growing in us and needs time to grow. So a lot of traditions, the Christmas tree, for example, cutting down a young new tree in the forest, and so there's a lot of traditions regarding the Christmas that we will eventually change, I think. And Martinus was very fond of Christmas. He talked about how this one night a year that people became aware instinctively, not in a conscious way, but they felt this cosmic rays from the Milky Way, and they really want to be the best version of themselves, want to be compassionate to people, help other people. He took a look at the globe, at the Earth, and saw how the aura of the Earth changed this one night. So there's a very high frequent energy going on this one night, and people are affected by this. Also materialistic people that don't believe in this old fairy tales, which they are for most materialistic people, but they have this cosmic message, which we have been talking about, these cosmic principles. And you can say in the Gospel of Christmas, of course, you see the main contrast in the eternal life, which are struggling, the principle of the darkness and principle of the light. And these are the main contrast that drive all the evolution. So it's very exciting analogy, I think, diving down into the deeper meaning of Christmas and all the persons. We can go on and go on, because there's a lot of persons connected to the history that have a deeper meaning. So the traditions of Christmas, I think we will see that we will change the traditions of Christmas. And Christmas gifts, for example, we exchange gifts, and the principle of giving is the principle that it will eventually evolve on Earth when the mentality of giving will take over the old mentality from the animal kingdom, which is the mentality of taking. I will take what I want, what I need, and the new mentality is giving. So giving one another presents at Christmas is of course symbolic for that principle. But we, like some people say, Christmas is in many ways become the merchandise's Christmas, materialistic Christmas. People are buying things and giving huge gifts, but most of the gifts are really materialistic. I give you maybe a gift card for 500, and you give me a gift card for 500, and these are really not so important gifts. According to Martinus, the most important gifts of Christmas would really be to contribute to this new mentality, to help people that are alone or not feeling good, people on the street, giving gifts to people that really need them. And that would be a more proper reflection or a manifestation of this new mentality. So we were talking about the Christmas gifts, and the most important thing you can give people is actually something that they need, and being present for people that need, maybe are alone or need presence. So that would often be more important than maybe giving some gifts that you don't need. So we all have, when we are talking about this new mentality that is going to grow forth on Earth, we all have a really big responsibility, because world peace is not going to emerge on itself. World peace is only going to emerge if every single person is going to work on its own mentality, becoming a peace cell in the organism of the Earth. So that's a huge responsibility. So if you really want a peace on Earth, you have to work on your own mentality. Where can I give? Where can I change my mentality in according to this new impulse of humanity? Where can I contribute? Where are areas in my consciousness where I become irritated towards people, judgmental, jealous, hatred even, and every time you meet people that you become irritated against or by, then you have something to work with, because then that's a projection actually. So you cannot meet, you're always meeting yourself, you're always meeting an outer picture of your inner mentality. And you're always in front of the Godhead. Everything you meet in life is actually Godhead. You cannot meet anything else. So life, animals, people, earth, nature, everything is the Godhead. And actually there's nothing else that exists.
In the article, The Christmas Star, that you talked about in your lecture, Martinus gave some advice about what people could do if they were longing for peace on earth. Could you tell us a little about that?
I could tell you, yes, a little bit about that. Well, he had some pointers about how you could improve, how you could work on yourself, and you could, for example, try to always things you meet in life, see them in an impartial light. Try to work on that. You could, when you meet people that you're not, what irritates you, etc., you could practice to look at the things from your opponent's side. Try to do that. That's a really good advice. And you could also always try to be open towards the people you meet, because you don't know the people you're meeting, you don't know their history, what they have been doing, the past lives, etc. So always meet people with the best intentions and until otherwise proven. And practice in thinking about the people that you meet, that they can't be any different than they are. We cannot be any different than we are. We often, the biggest problem with the communication and people today, they always want people to be or expect them to be like themselves. If you, in different areas, you can meet people that are only like 5 years old, and you expect them and you want them to behave like 20 years old or 30 years old in that area. We all have different areas that we have to work on. But this expectation that people should behave in the way that we expect them to behave, that's a eternal source to mental war with other people. And he says, don't let your dark thoughts, hatred, irritations, etc., don't take them out on other people. And really, try to restrain your mentality. Try to restrain these sides of your mentality. If you have some issues with irritation or hatred or aggressiveness, try to restrain them and try to work on the side of your mentality. He also talks about gossip, because one of the last things that are going to vanish from our mentality from the traditions of the killing principle. That's, for example, gossip and backstabbing people mentally. And he said that's a kind of mental warfare, actually. Talking, badly about people. That's a mental war. And while you're maintaining this mentality, you are in fact maintaining the warfare on earth. You are contributing to the warfare on earth. And he also says that's an old advice. I think Pythagoras had this one also. Never make any important decision without sleeping on it. And I think that has been a good advice for me as well. So this is from an article he wrote called "The Christmas Star." So he had different pointers on how to work on your mentality. So it's a great responsibility to take action and take affair of being or becoming a peace cell in the Earth organism, and in that way contributing to creating peace on Earth, because it's not going to create it on itself.
Yeah, it's not going to happen by itself. So how do you think neighborly love, which is a true message of Christmas, is developing in society? Do you see more and more people becoming these peace cells or cells of peace that you're talking about?
Yes, I think so. Like I said earlier, we are witnessing these two contrasts of the darkness and the light. So, of course, the appearance of the darkness is really dominating, and people are really looking that way. But if you look the other way, you see a lot of examples. You see a lot of young people becoming vegetarians or vegans, and different things that young people really want peace on the earth. NGOs and in the broad spectrum, you see if you look at the picture from on the long term, you see hospitals and education and things that were not available just 100 years ago for every people, for everyone. So all these things are a manifestation of this new principle of light and humanity. And you see a lot of humanity. You see a lot of people that actually are concerned about the global warming and are concerned about warfare and young people that don't want to contribute to this warfare around the world today. So you see both things, and eventually the light will prevail. The light will win. There's no question about that. But we are living in the last days, and the darkness is really, really strong. But it's because of the principle of darkness is actually dying.
So you're optimistic about the future?
I'm both pessimistic and optimistic. Now, regarding to the future, I'm really optimistic, Mary, because Martinus, he talks about, he looks into the future and he sees how world politics and world affairs will develop in the coming centuries. And he's talking about in 500 years there will be a world government, and where every state on the world will be a part of this world government. And there will be some the people or beings with cosmic consciousness coming to the earth, people that are here now, and governing with wisdom and love and compassion. And in 3,000 years, he says, then the earth as a living being will gain cosmic consciousness, and we, mankind, as the brain cells of the earth, we will also gain cosmic consciousness. So the future is really bright. So we will get, like the Bible prophesies, the seventh day in the creation, the paradise on earth, and so these are the things that we are heading towards. But there's going to be some darkness on the way, but the light will prevail, and we are going towards a much more humane things on earth.
Could you tell me what Martinus's analysis of Christmas means to you?
To me, well, ever since I was a young boy, and before I knew the analysis of the Christmas, I always thought there was a really special atmosphere about Christmas, and I'm always looking forward to Christmas, and this year I'm actually going home to visit my family in Iceland. And well, I'm a big Christmas child inside. So there's always, Christmas is really special for me. And I have friends that are really humane but materialistic, and they maybe had some difficult Christmas when they were young, and they can't actually see or feel this Christmas spirit, and they just get it over with. And I'm just telling them, that's so nice, the lights, and because Martinus states you that Christmas is not nothing. There are actually are concrete energies behind Christmas, and people tune into those energies. They can feel it instinctively that there is something. It's not out of the blue. There is a reality behind the principle of the gospel of Christmas.
And what would be the very best Christmas present you could imagine?
A new Fender Stratocaster guitar. No. No, the best Christmas present for me is to be with the people that I love. And of course, it's nice to get a Christmas book to read, and I always love that very much, to get a good book for Christmas and lie on the sofa and read a good book. But the most important part for me is to try to create a good Christmas where I am, and try to help people in my people that I meet, and contribute to the atmosphere, the good atmosphere of Christmas.
And maybe Christmas will last all year round, ultimately.
Well, that was Martinus's prediction, that this mentality of Christmas actually will in the future, we will have this mentality every day, mentality of Christmas, the mentality of giving and loving and compassion and humanity, where every single being will be able to develop their own talents, if you're in music or science or everything, and all people will be regarded equal, and all people will be able to use their talents in this the new world state. So there's not going to be any force. The working week is going to be, you only have to work some few hours in the week, and so the new world state is going to be built on the principle of compassion.
So on that note, perhaps we should round off. Martinus has written a lot about Christmas. You can find many articles about Christmas on the Martinus Institute's homepage, martinus.dk, under Martinus Writings. Tryggvi Gudmundsson and I, Mary McGovern, wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year here from the Martinus Institute.